family. My name is Vicki Dillard for African Diaspora News Channel. Thank you so much for joining us today. Be sure to give us a big thumbs up and share the broadcast. That way other notifications are sent out to folks so they'll know we're here. Thank you so much, family. I have discussed this before years ago on my own channel at vickydillard.tv, as well as here African Diaspora News Channel years ago, about the great legend and icon and really archangel in this realm, Michael Jackson. Of course, it's no wonder his name is Michael Jackson. He did the great good that he did around the world. His extraordinary gift had the ability to unify and influence the masses in ways that exceed controls of governments and systems and institutions. Yes. And that's what also makes him dangerous, because family, when you have a spiritual gift like that, a magical gift like that, and of course I teach spiritual principles, it's something that governments and agencies and institutions can't inherently control. So they do different things to trap you. That's why it's so important that we maximize and learn how we can maximize our spiritual gifts so that we can influence our planet. But nevertheless, Michael Jackson certainly understood how to wield his extraordinary influence. And unfortunately, even our own people and a lot of those that were supporters of his and many people around the world believe the very salacious, wild, slanderous, and fake allegations that was placed against our dear brother. I want you to watch this resurfaced footage that I talked about in times past from an interview on CNN that was done that is purports to be the voice of Michael Jackson on it, and his father is there in the interview as well as his former business manager. Watch this.
Let me bring you in here because you were a business manager for Michael for a very long time. You've brought some fascinating tapes. These are audio tapes. And I want to just go through some of this because I once interviewed Michael in the late 90s, and I was struck that there was another Michael Jackson here, the businessman. And I want to play a tape before I come to you. This is him discussing with you, I think, about a plan to buy Marvel, the comic business, back in 2001 or 2, I think it was. Let's listen to this.
We could easily go into Universal and buy. We would own Jaws, E.T., Close Encounters, all the classics from Universal. Own all of that stuff. And that will allow us to do a channel. Part of the Marvel channel can be not only the Marvel characters, but Marvel films, like the catalog. We could do anything we want, from restaurants to retail, theme parks.
Now, you actually got the financing in place, I believe, for this deal. Then came the scandal court cases, and it all got put on the back burner. Disney ended up buying Marvel and doing exactly what Michael had predicted and making a fortune at it. Tell me about this.
That was the second part of his life. He did want to do this, and he knew exactly any single detail what he wants to do. And he was absolutely right. Because he was saying, so the music career, I cannot do more than that what I did. That's it. And I have the Beatles catalog on one side. If I buy this Marvel catalog, he has a second part, a big part in his life. He would be the richest person in the world.
Yeah, he understood the power of owning rights to things.
Right.
He realized the power of publishing rights, which is the same in music and movies and television and all of it. Let me play you one last clip of Michael talking, which is very prophetic, given what we've just been discussing.
We don't want to die knowing that we didn't accomplish our goals. I want to die knowing I did it. I did everything I wanted to do, and I did it my way, That's it. We changed the world.
What would you like Michael's legacy to be?
I like his legacy to be that's what he wanted to be. Want everybody to care about him and to love him and keep doing the things that what he wanted to do. And he wanted to make people happy all over the world. You see, Pierce, Michael's situation, if the world was like Michael, there would never be any wars. Everybody would get along. And that's the type of kid he was.
Okay, family, did you see that? Now, there's a reason I want us to revisit some of these things. I don't want us to just say, well, the powers that be, the one that was behind this, and they set him up. No, family, if you really believe that we're at war, you should be looking at these circumstances and situations and trying to put things in place so that we don't fall into these traps, or at the very least, so that we can work against them, so that we're able to move forward with greater sovereignty and agency as a Black unit. This is to encourage us, not to stop us and say, oh, we better not do that. No, what kind of weak stuff is that? We're going to stay bound. I want us, Black family, to use all of our prowess in arts and entertainment, in government, in economics, in law, in the court system, in every area, in every sphere of people activity, so that we can use those particular skills acquired in the system, outside the system, on our behalf. And I'm doing a rallying cry to call us to be on code in every imaginable way. And for us to start thinking and planning, generally speaking, online, but specifically offline. Now, this is important. Number one, that lets you know, number one, Piers Morgan, who's nothing but a mouthpiece for the oppressive colonialist, imperialist America and West, this Brit, who's so problematic in so many ways. I want you all to understand that, number one, when he has these types of discussions, even after Michael Jackson passed, of course, he's doing this for ratings, but he's also doing this to kind of tell where the public is on stuff. And also, this is a sort of intelligence gathering mission that mainstream legacy media does on behalf of targets of governments. You got to understand, when they're trying to interview you and you're somebody that they don't like, or you're somebody that's problematic in different ways, they're trying to extract as much information out of you as possible while looking like they're just trying to interview you. So number one, Black family in America and around the world, and my brothers and sisters, especially on the continent of Africa, keep that in mind. When somebody's interviewing you, that's just them sitting down trying to extract intel from you. That's number one. Number two, I didn't like the tone, the condescending tone that Pierce used when he said he found out that there was another Michael Jackson. No, it's not another Michael Jackson. It's about the businessman. No, he was always that. We Black family are already geniuses. That's why everybody wants our magic, because everybody tends to monetize it and have legacies and pay bills for generations to come in their own family. And we don't, because they understand our inherent economic benefit. Michael Jackson was always that. If you listen very closely in the interview, he had already told you, he had already bought the Beatles catalog. And how many of you all know the white supremacists were very upset about the fact that Michael Jackson ended up owning that catalog? He went so far, obviously, in this audio with his business manager, it said, to want to buy Marvel, Universal. And what did Pierce reveal during that interview? Number one, let me backtrack. The manager said Michael Jackson was exactly right. And number two, Pierce said what? Disney turned around and did exactly what Michael Jackson said. Now, when I discussed this years ago, somebody was saying, well, why did Michael Jackson go out there and tell the world that? First of all, the audio was not meant for the world to hear. That wasn't out at the public at the time, family. And besides, don't you all know that when the powers that shouldn't be wants to stop you from being a greater authority than you already are, especially economically, even if you're behind the scenes privately negotiating and making inquiry and talking about your plans, don't you know that because you're dealing with high-level entities, they'll leak that intentionally to the press? That's how they messed up his career in the first place. They use media to do it. And a lot of our people fell for it like knuckleheads and silly sheep. He was absolutely brilliant. So I want you all to see this as a reminder of your own genius, but also to say to ourselves, what things can we put in place with our Black lawyers, with our Black experts, with the Black nation, with our own people, whoever they might be. We come together and we say, hey, we're going to build this. But how many of you all know that when you're building a house, you have to automatically factor in that you're going to put locks on the door and the windows, that you're going to install a security system. And some of you may resort to arms and other things for additional layers of protection. When we're building, we must automatically build in protection. Because I want to encourage us to keep innovating. That's why I'm reminding us of this. This is the time to build, Black family. My name is Vicki Dillard, beloved. I can't wait to hear what you have to say about it below. Be sure to check out my school products and services at VickiPlanet.com. That's my